Hello everybody, so in this video we're going to be going over what all of the basic window functions do. We're going to go from sheets to pools to presets to playbacks, other and system. So let's start off with channels, which is in the sheets. I'm going to do this in order. So channels essentially allows you direct control over a singular channel. As you can see there, allows you direct control of a single channel on a fixture. So these are essentially meant for dimming, just dimming fixtures where you can't control anything else. And you can assign them directly to playback, so you can do them here. Then we've got DMX. So DMX is the actual DMX output. This allows you to see what's actually being output from the console. You can scroll through all of the channels that your console supports. As you get the idea, you can change the color and all that sort of stuff. Quite simple there. Let's get into so fixtures. This is just the layout of the fixture. So you can see here the fixture name, the position, any macros, etc. All that sort of stuff. All the stuff you want to know about the fixtures here. And you can scroll along. There's a lot of information. That's the fixtures. Coming on from that, you've got sequence content. This is any sequences that you're running and what they're doing and stuff. I haven't got any sequences running. If I engage a sequence, you'll see it there and you can see what it's doing. Pretty simple stuff. Coming on from that, we've got sequence executors. So these are executors for sequences. I actually don't know. I don't use this page very often, but essentially you could just see all the executors that are set up in sets and all that sort of stuff. Coming on from that, we've got sequence tracking. So this is what's happening in each queue of that sequence and how the corresponding lighting change is tracking onto the next. I can never remember the color, but I think it's the blue sets it explicitly, and purple is tracking. And then you can do queue only and stuff, and it'll give it a different color. But I think you can change that. And then you've got RDM. No idea. Absolutely no idea. So that's a waste of time on that one. Anyway, pools. This is where I spend most of my time. I'm using like group pools and camera pools and stuff like that. So camera pools are essentially different shots that you can have in like a layout view. These all have the same standard thing. So effects is obvious. It's the effects. Do you want whatever the effect is, you've got to save it to a pool, and then you can copy it from there. Filters are again the same sort of thing. You can filter. You can click on these to filter out dynamically. If I edit one of these, like you can filter out dynamically what you've got selected and stuff like that. Forms. So again, these are just like the standard sort of waves and stuff like that. We can edit one of these. It's brought it up down here, but if I bring it up over here, you can just see and you can edit it, stuff like that. I'm not very good at this. There you go. You can give it a point, edit the points, add points, all that sort of stuff to make like a custom wave and effect and stuff that you want. Groups are the standard thing that you probably use. You put your fixtures into groups, and then you just click on the group, and then you can control the group as one. That's kind of obvious. Images, that's just where you import images. By default, it has some standard images, but you might want to import more. You might want to use images in a layout view, which will be coming out. Layout pools. So you could save these to be a custom, I don't know where that's pulling that up. I don't know where that's putting it. But you can make custom layout pools so that you understand the layout and stuff like that, and you can save it. Macros, these are where you store your macros. So I've got lights on and lights off. I don't think these will work because it's not connected to the network, but they would turn the lights on and off in here, and I have them saved down here into the console. Stuff like that. What we going on here? We've got masks. So these are essentially kind of similar to words, but they're slightly different. So what you can filter out what's actually going on. If we edit that one, it might not let us edit that one. But you can create a mask that's going to do only if this and that. I don't really use it that often. I do find there is sometimes a use for it, but it's not high on my list. MA tricks, this is really cool. These allow you to create like preset pickers. So say you want an interleave of this and an MA filter of that and a single of that, etc. This is a way of selecting specific fixtures within groups quite quickly. If you need to do that, we want to clear that. That was MA tricks. Channel pages. These are just, again, just groups of channel pages. I haven't got any channel pages saved. If I jump into the channel pages down here, you can see I haven't got any page. But you can see it's just adding them there. Simples. Page executors. So these are just your fader pages. As I go up, it goes up. Stuff like that. Sequences are your sequences. So these are just your lighting queue stack things. So if I stick that up there, there you go. This is where you'd record all your cues to. You can change these sequences to be different types and stuff like that. That's beyond the scope of this. That'll be a different video. Got sequences, timecode pools. So these are your timecode pools. So if we edit, say, let's get loud, I'll bring it up over here. There you go. You can see all the cues and where they're going to go to. So at that time, it's going to trigger this executor command to go to that cue. That's how that works. Timecode slot pools. So these are the inputs. Essentially, this is where it's getting timecode from. So you've got slot 1, slot 2, slot 3. You can edit them, can you? Yeah. And it will tell you where it's getting it from, what the sender is, all of that sort of stuff. Timers. These are just timers. You can create like a countdown or a reset. It's not triggered, linked, etc. All that sort of stuff. You can do all that sort of stuff. I don't really find them to be that useful. I know they do have their use, but I don't really use them. Views. These are where you create store custom views. You have to sort of like, so if you wanted to store this view, you could click there and you could store it. You could say what screens you want to include. I want to include all of them, please. And it stored that. Section, we'll delete that. Universes. So these are your universes. These are like the universes you can have your fixtures on. Of course, you can have as many as you like. There you go. All that sort of stuff. Universes are for the fixtures, that's obvious. Worlds are the way of breaking it down into selectivity. So if you're in a world that's not full, you can only control and affect fixtures that are in that world. I think that's quite a clever way of allowing segmentation of control, so you could have different consoles in different worlds. Presets, so dynamic, what's the dynamic preset? Okay, so these are just dynamically generated ones. I don't really use this dynamic. I use a lot of the presets for like color palettes and stuff like that, but I'm not using this dynamic one. Maybe I should be. But that seems to be just dynamically generated presets. You've got all, so these affect all of the parameters for a fixture. So intensity, so dimming, position, color, beam, focus, control, etc. like that. Coming along, we've got dimmer. They affect the dimmer. I won't click on all of these actually because these are all the same. You've got dimmer, position, gobo, color, beam, focus, control, shape, and video. We'll click on video. Video just allows you to edit the video component. I don't have any fixtures in here that support that, but they all just do the respective control for that. And they have the same number on the second screen. Playback, so action buttons. These are just additional buttons. So you've got buttons down here. You can have more buttons up there. And then you've got playback big, so now you've got some sliders. Why don't they slide? Oh, they're empty. Can I make that have something in it? Nope, okay. I can't get that to have something in it. Oh, it's clicked this, isn't it, down here? So I haven't got anything assigned to them, but otherwise they would slide and stuff like that. Playback small, same fucking thing. Running effect. So this is where you can see what's running in the console, which is quite useful if you want to know what's tracking and executors, pulls, the program and sequence. Then running playback. So here you go. You can see all the playbacks that are loaded. They've got sequences and playbacks. You can jump in to all that sort of stuff. I find this to be a very useful view. Other. In the other, you've got agenda. I don't know what that is. Absolutely no idea. I think you can assign tasks, guessing by date. I don't use this very often. Video viewer is for imported video if you're streaming video in and you want to view it and output it and stuff like that. I don't really use that. Clock, that's pretty simple. It's the clock. It's the current system clock, which is, I don't know where you can see that on my watch. You can't. Which is completely wrong. You can also tap up here to go between time code, timers, and other stuff in case you need to. Color picker, that's the standard color picker. You can go up here and you can change between the modes, which I find to be quite useful. Command filters, so you can command out filter stuff, etc. Change what you're selecting. Command section, so this is just like master adjustment. So that adjusts the master on the selected. So that's you're controlling what you've got in your command section, which is down here, which as you can see I can adjust with actual physical shaders. Press the buttons and all that sort of stuff. I don't know why you'd need this as a view. You might do though. What was that? That was command filter. No, that was the command section. Command wing bar. Okay, so this is the bar. If you've got the command wing connected, so you can have an additional device next to the desk. This is what would show up there. You might want that if you need to have access to it. But it's actually already down there on the other view. I've cleared that already. Let's go to the next one. Encoder bar. That's the encoder bar that we have down here where all the dimmers are. And if you watch my what every button does on this console, you'll have seen that. Encoder bar info. That's just where you'll see all the info about the desk. Clearly there's nothing in there about that. Layout views, see these are where you build layout views. It's telling me I'm in a world. So that's interesting. I clearly clicked on a world. Let's just go back and fix that. Actually, I don't think that matters. But I'm in a world at the moment. So what was that? Layout views, masters. These are where you'll see your masters and your special masters. So you've got group masters, speed masters, rate masters, and playback masters. These are all what are called special masters. So they're not actual masters. They can be assigned. Masters sequence information, so this is all just information about the sequence and stuff like that. Auto scroll, show, blah, 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 blah. About the selected sequence. Smart, this is a smart display, so this dynamically changes based on what you've got selected. I'm in a world, aren't I? So if I select that, I can select down here a color, and you can see that there's this, and we should be able to tap into this. I can remember how to do this. I can get this to show a dialogue. Oh, that's the special dialogue down there. I can put that there. There you go. There's a special dialogue. That was smart stage. Stage is where you get your visualization if you want it. How do I do this again? Move. There you go. There you go. You can see the stage. I've done a terrible job of that. That's the stage. Time code view. So this is where, if you wanted to, you could zoom in on a track and you can see when every cue is, and you can see where the current time code is by this line, and when it hits these points, so when it's going to fire a cue. Stage, we've done that. Time code view. VPU pixel mapper view. I don't use the pixel mapper often, but if you're using pixel mapping, which is the ability to show video kind of through the fixtures by mapping the colors, you can do that in there. System, this is I use some of these quite often. I use like command line, a desk status and stuff like that. I find them very interesting to use. So these are kind of system based ones. They're not necessarily relative to the actual lighting, but they're quite useful to use. So the command line, this is just an output of all the commands and stuff that you've sent to the command line. So if you type something in, it will show you it there. It goes red when you scroll up for some reason. Desk status, here you go, you can see the desk overview, so you can see this is console 1, it's expecting there to be 2, remote logins, all that sort of stuff, what's going on with the images, parameters, usable opacities, of how many parameters, 4096, cues, cue parts, all that sort of stuff. What was that? That was desk status. Help is just the grandMA2 help section, so you can just click through all the documentation. Message center, this is just telling you about messages and what's going on, so we can understand it. What's it saying here? It's just saying that it's doing something else. The console. Dimmer networks. If you've got it connected to any dimmers, I'm assuming they appear here, but I don't have any of them plugged in or paired at any point. Performance. This is just like a sort of performance graph of how it's doing over time and stuff like that. I don't really use this that often, but it is quite useful. When you've got an issue, it's quite useful. Plugins, if you wanted to import any plugins, you could just edit that, pull that over there. You could just edit the plugin. You write the code, like actually physically write the code in here and load it in. We'll delete that. What's next? That was the plugins. sound input. So you can have sound into the desk to allow it to do shit like, oh, sorry. To allow it to do shit based on the sound, like get the BPM and stuff like that. As you can see, it's flashing. I might do that one day. I'll see how that works. System monitor. This is just telling you again what's going on. Like you can see that I jump between files, stuff like that, all of that stuff. Yeah, I think that's the end of that. Oh, yeah, that's all of these. I've been through all of them. This is a quick video just showing you what all of the windows do in the MA. Hope you found it interesting. As I said earlier, I did a video about what all the buttons do, and I did a video about how I do my time code. I'm going to do some more videos about this, as I think it's a topic people will be interested in, and I happen to own one, so I can do them as I like. Hope you enjoyed. Bye!